In the 1970s, in suburban Chicago, a man who performed as a clown at community events and hospitals was later found responsible for serious crimes that shocked the nation. This is the story of John Wayne Gacy, who was convicted of murdering at least 33 young men and teenage boys between 1972 and 1978. John Wayne Gacy was born on March 17, 1942, in Chicago. He grew up in a challenging family environment with a difficult father. Gacy experienced a head injury as a child and later had health issues. He moved to Waterloo, Iowa in the late 1960s, where he managed restaurants, married, and had children. In 1968, he faced legal trouble related to a sexual offense involving a teenager and served time before being paroled in 1970. He returned to Chicago, started a construction business called PDM Contractors, and became known in his community as a successful businessman and local volunteer. He was active in politics, served as a precinct captain, and was photographed with First Lady Rosalind Carter. He also performed as Pogo the Clown at charity events for children. Gacy's first known crime occurred in January 1972, when he met a young man named Timothy McCoy and later caused his death. Over the following years, he targeted young men and teenage boys, often offering them work or help. He invited many to his home at 8213 West Summerdale Avenue, where most of the victims were later found to have been killed. The majority were concealed in the crawl space under his house, with others placed elsewhere on the property or in the nearby Des Plaines River. The odor from the property was noticeable to neighbors, but Gacy explained it as plumbing or moisture problems. For several years, the situation remained undetected due to his public image as a reliable community member. In the late 1970s, Gacy became involved in additional serious matters that affected several young men and teenage boys. A number of individuals connected to his construction business went missing over time, including 17-year-old Gregory Godzik in December 1976 after a disagreement about payment, and 19-year-old John Butkovich in July 1975. Despite occasional questions from people in his circle, Gacy's reputation as a reliable businessman and active community member continued to limit deeper scrutiny. The situation changed significantly on December 11, 1978, when 15-year-old Robert Peast disappeared from his part-time job at a pharmacy in Des Plaines, Illinois. Peast had told coworkers he planned to meet a contractor named John regarding a potential summer job opportunity. Investigators soon associated the disappearance with Gacy, whose name had appeared in previous inquiries. On December 21st, police obtained a search warrant for Gacy's residence at 8213 West Summerdale Avenue, initially focused on gathering information about Peast. During the search, officers observed a persistent strong odor throughout the house. Gacy explained it as related to a sump pump problem. The next day, under increasing pressure from authorities, Gacy provided information about Peast's disappearance and then acknowledged responsibility for other related matters. He indicated that several individuals had been concealed in the crawl space beneath his home. Excavation work began right away in challenging winter conditions. Officers carefully removed soil and located various remains one by one. 26 sets of remains were recovered from the crawl space, 3 more from other parts of the property, and 4 from the Des Plaines River, including Robert Peast. The discovery was somber, with remains in different states of decomposition. Gacy offered details to help investigators locate the sites, though he displayed limited outward remorse. He later mentioned having multiple personalities, including one he referred to as Bad Jack, which he claimed was responsible for the offenses. Psychiatric evaluations concluded that Gacy had antisocial personality disorder and was fully aware of and in control of his actions. The investigation also brought to light Gacy's earlier conviction for a sexual offense in Iowa, which had been handled with leniency at the time and did not prevent him from returning to Chicago and rebuilding his life. Neighbors and acquaintances later recalled certain unusual observations: the ongoing odor, the frequent presence of young men at the house. But no one had linked these details to serious wrongdoing until Robert Piest disappeared. The case drew extensive national attention and served as a clear example of how individuals can engage in serious offenses while maintaining a respectable public image. Gacy's trial began in February 1980 in Cook County, Illinois, and became one of the longest and most closely watched criminal proceedings in the state's history. Prosecutors charged him with 33 murders and sought the death penalty for the most serious offenses. The defense entered a plea of not guilty by reason of insanity, arguing that Gacy's difficult childhood, past head injury, and claimed multiple personalities prevented him from controlling his behavior. Several witnesses, including a survivor named Jeffrey Rignall, provided testimony describing being drugged, assaulted, and left for dead. Forensic experts explained the causes of death for most victims, typically involving asphyxiation or other means after periods of restraint. In a striking closing argument, prosecutor William Kunkel placed photographs of the victims into a scale model of Gacy's crawlspace, asking the jury to deliver justice. After 5 weeks of testimony, the jury rejected the insanity defense and convicted Gacy on all 33 counts on March 13, 1980. He was sentenced to death for 12 of the murders and received life imprisonment for the remaining counts. While on death row at Menard Correctional Center, Gacy pursued multiple appeals over the years and created a number of paintings, many depicting clowns, some of which were later sold. In interviews conducted during his imprisonment, he sometimes denied responsibility for the crimes or attributed them to his alternate personality. His final words before execution were brief and defiant. On May 10, 1994, at the age of 52, John Wayne Gacy was executed by lethal injection at Stateville Correctional Center. The execution process took longer than expected due to complications with the chemicals, but he was pronounced dead. For the families of the victims, the execution did not provide meaningful closure. 26 bodies had been recovered from the crawlspace, 3 from other areas of the property, and 4 from the Des Plaines River. As of 2026, 5 victims remain unidentified, despite continued efforts using DNA analysis and advancements in genetic genealogy. The Cook County Sheriff's Office maintains an ongoing project to identify the remaining unnamed individuals and provide answers to their families. The case continues to raise important questions. How was Gacy able to avoid detection for such an extended period? Were there additional victims who were never discovered? Did he have any assistance? While various theories have circulated, no credible evidence has emerged to support claims of accomplices or unreported victims. Gacy's crimes remain one of the most disturbing and widely studied cases in American true crime history, a stark example of how serious wrongdoing can remain hidden behind a seemingly normal public life. John Wayne Gacy was convicted of murdering at least 33 young men and boys, leaving behind grieving families, a shaken community, and questions that persist even decades later. The concealed crawl space, the clown performances, the overlooked warning signs, all serve as a sobering reminder that serious wrongdoing can sometimes go unnoticed when hidden behind an ordinary or even likable exterior. Even today in 2026, with ongoing investigative efforts to identify the remaining unnamed victims, the case is not fully closed. What are your thoughts on this case? Do you believe there could be more victims who were never identified? Do you think Gacy acted entirely alone? Share your perspective in the comments. We read and appreciate every one. If real-life criminal cases and unsolved mysteries like this keep you thinking, subscribe to Our True Crime and turn on notifications for new deep dives every week. Because some stories, no matter how long they remain hidden, eventually come to light. Thanks for watching. Stay safe and stay curious.